I went in to vote and on election day, and they said I already voted.
What?
Yeah, I went to vote.
So you didn't get to vote?
I got to vote because I said, "Hey, I have the card. I have everything here. I haven't voted yet. Why are you saying I voted?" Guys just had some bad luck. Just every once in a while, he rams people's heads into the ground, and it's just
You know,
bad
it
luck.
happens to the best of us.
It happens. Don't worry about it.
So, yeah, it's been a while since we sat down and had a conversation. A lot has obviously happened. We went through a whole election, and let's talk about that. What were your thoughts on the results there, Shmi?
Oh, they were interesting to say the least. My thoughts were either something fishy's going on or boomers came out in force. Yeah, it was a bit odd considering that the provincial government won in a landslide Conservative in Ontario. And
Well, let's not pretend that Doug Ford is an actual Conservative.
No, but even just the uninformed people would be like, Conservative, bad, Liberal, good. It was the same climate that the federal election was in when the provincial election was going on. So I thought for sure it would.
Well, Doug Ford was like going out of his way to ensure that everyone knew he wasn't like Trump or Trump fan at all. Like he was going on Fox
for sure, but
and news and stuff.
It's just weird. Like it's odd. It's like you generally don't get.
Not that I think Pierre is like Trump, or I think that there's any merit to that. But
as far as I know, they're exactly the same. Jeez. Trump and Pierre. That's what CBC told me, so I believe them. I find it weird. Another thing I really found weird is I went in to vote and on election day, and they said I already voted.
What?
Yeah, I went to vote.
So you didn't get to vote?
I got to vote because I said, "Hey, I have the card. I have everything here. I haven't voted yet. Why are you saying I voted?" And then I also said, "Hey, who did I vote for?"
Well, they can't.
They would not say that.
Well, obviously. But that doesn't make any sense because if they thought you had voted, why would they let you vote?
I guess I don't know how they.
You serious?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
I voted. I went in there. I hadn't voted until that day. I came with my wife with the card. We both voted on the same day, at the same time. And they said, "Sorry, you've already voted." So I had to sign a big thing being like, "No, I haven't voted yet. This is actually who I am. I have all my paperwork and everything associated with it. How did I vote early? ? And they didn't really give me a good explanation.
Like at that polling station.
At that polling station. And the lady there was like, "Oh, this isn't even the first one that's happened to today."
No way.
Yep.
Fuck off.
That happened. And I was like, "Huh. So who did I vote for? ? So that's I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt and say somebody just accidentally put the wrong check mark. But yeah, it's a little fishy.
I don't even believe that. That's crazy.
That's what happened. That's what happened on election day. So that was a fun thing. And I had to wait like an extra 30 minutes for them to do the paperwork and look over all my stuff. And I'm just like, okay, weird. So
what the?
Apparently I had already voted, even though I had never voted that election cycle.
That's
they looked at my name on the list. My name was crossed out. They said I already voted. I was like, pretty sure I haven't because I haven't.
Fuck, man. Like that's the worst thing I've heard so far about like election fraud in Canada.
I'm going to give the benefit of a doubt, but the fact that she said this has happened more than once, a little fishy. That's why I said, who did I vote for?
Oh my God.
I wonder if it was the red team, ? But I don't know. That's just conspiracy. But yeah, that was a fun election day. So
I can't like I'm flabbergasted.
And they make you sign a thing where they try to scare you and they're like, if you're lying, it's 50,000. Well, I'm like, I'm not lying.
Yeah, well, that's
I have not voted yet.
Yeah, no, you have no problem signing that because you're not lying.
I have no problem. But it was just like
insane.
They kind of try to scare you. They're like, you just sign this waiver that if you do $50,000, and it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna vote because I haven't voted yet. So.
I mean, I just always use my driver's license when I vote, so I just assume that you needed like that level of photo ID, don't you?
You need photo ID. If you don't have photo ID, if you don't have the card, you need photo ID and someone to vouch for you, as far as I'm aware.
No. Because so what it is if you're not registered at that station. So, because me and my girlfriend went to vote, and I got a card in the mail. I just forgot to bring it. So then they were like, okay, that's fine. You just have to sign this thing. And I did. And then she was registered like in a different town, but she just wanted to vote with me. So then she's like, okay, like, can she vote?
Shelbyville.
Yeah, she's like, can she vote here? And they're like, yeah, she can, but you have to vouch for her and then sign this big thing. And they try to scare you with like the punishment of like $50,000 and years in jail or whatever. It's like, okay, that's fine. Like, I know she's not going to go try to vote somewhere else. So no worries. But yeah, you don't actually need you don't need someone to vouch for you if you don't have the card, as long as like the card was actually delivered to you.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I had the card and I brought it in and I'm like, dude, haven't voted yet, which was a little fishy.
That's insane. I still can't believe that. That's wild.
Happened. You can... yeah.
Well,
so something fishy was going on, or there was just mistakes made, multiple mistakes.
I mean, let's give them the benefit of the doubt,
That's
I
what I'm
guess.
doing.
But like, I mean, how many times do you want to do that? And I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be that guy who's like, our elections are secure.
My feelings are enough stupid boomers screwed us. I think that's what happened. I'm not going to go conspiracy route.
Yeah, I don't. Like, we're not doing that. But
I think enough immigration and boomers screwed us.
Yeah,
I think that's what got us.
But it does cast a little bit of a shadowy light on articles like this. So just posted May 10th, Quebec riding of Terrebonne flips to Liberals after recount shows candidate won by single vote. Yep. Liberals now have 170 seats in House of Commons, too shy of a majority government.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, they'll get it.
They'll
find those votes.
Like they might be like
they'll find those. Remember
there's
Trump?
a lot of recounts. So here, like, listen.
They'll find those votes.
Listen to this. There's also other ones, right? So there's results in 3 other ridings are currently being recounted. Elections Canada announced Friday that a recount will take place in Milton East, Halton Hills South, where the Liberal candidate edged the Conservative by 29 votes. That riding was initially declared for the Conservatives, but flipped to Liberals after the validation process, which is not the same as a recount. Also, you got a recount taking place in Newfoundland, Labrador riding of Terra Nova, the Peninsulas, where the Liberal candidate won by 12 votes. And on Friday, a judge ordered a recount in another Ontario riding, Windsor-Tecumseh, Lakeshore, where the Conservative candidate won by 77 votes. So lots of recounts going on.
I'm feeling there's probably some shenanigans, of course. You have them. They've bought off the media. Like, of course, they're going to buy off other shit. They're going to do other stupid shit. They're going to buy off judges and stuff like that. Like, it's just going to happen. There's always dirty shit in politics. It happens on both sides. So I'm going to assume that it was just the boomers that screwed us.
Every time I err on the side of cynicism, I'm never disappointed.
That's true. But I like to feel, in my heart of hearts, I know I'm a naive little bitch, but I think I'd like to still assume we have some semblance of actual,
Yeah, I think there's there's a lot of good people probably who still try to work in politics, but the problem is that the manipulative Machiavellian types will always be the ones to seize the reins of power because they're willing to do what others are not.
Well, that's one cynical take, yeah.
But it seems to be the way of it.
It seems to be the way. But I mean, I don't know. Good triumphs over evil. There's only so much sociopath you can get. You can only get so far as a sociopath.
Well, if there's too many and they're not kept in check, I guess your society just kind of collapses.
Yeah, well, our society's in great shape right now, so I don't think that's
great shape.
We're in great shape. It's going to be great.
The deficit spending was increased by like
it was
something
only
like 70%,
4 times more than Trudeau, isn't
so
it?
We're only going to do a couple $100 billion in extra spending over the next few years. So that's
so
fine.
it'll be great.
But we're going to put that in a separate part of the balance sheet.
Yeah.
So it's almost like we don't owe that money.
No, it's not real money.
We're just gonna split that up.
I'm going to put it over here. So it's like when I go gambling and I tell my wife, "No, I'm not gambling the house. I'm gambling something else," and she can't see it because it's over there, right? She doesn't know it. That's ridiculous.
It's not a great analogy, but
no,
I kind of get what you're going for there.
You basically tell her you're not doing something when you are, and because she can't see it, it didn't happen. It doesn't count, right? That's how that works. Whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, kind of thing. Which sounds to be like the Carney, his economics. So that's good. You can just say no, it's over here. Don't look at that. It's fine.
Split up our money into 2 piles.
Yeah.
Well, I lost one. But it's okay.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
So yeah, speaking of Carney and his handling of things, what was your take on the whole White House visit?
I actually didn't even watch it.
Didn't look at any of that?
I've been so kind of just saddened by the whole state of affairs that I'm just I'm watching the Leafs. I'm enjoying my springtime.
The Leaf. It's been fun watching the Leafs so
Oh,
far.
yeah.
Yeah, it's been a blast.
See, like when the Leafs were starting to flounder against Ottawa, my personal self-care went down as
I couldn't
well.
believe there was
like,
there's already some people like
"Go."
burning jerseys when we were winning the series like 3-1. It's like you people need to calm down. They're doing
Well,
pretty
yeah,
well.
but I mean, it did affect me. I was like, oh, I was okay with the crumbling state of Canada as long as the Leafs
As
were
long as
doing
the Leafs
well.
are doing well, yeah, maybe that's the problem. Is too many people have that attitude.
So now that they lost 2 nights ago or whatever it was, it's starting to crumble again. So we'll find out. We've been hurt before, so Leaf fans kind of
Yeah, I mean,
suspect.
you never like count anything before count your
No,
chickens before they
no,
hatch or
no.
anything like that. But
Go Leafs, go.
we'll see how it goes.
But yeah, about Carney and his visit, it is my impression that Carney and Trump are friends. They want to get shit done. Trump still wants to pretend like he's, big ticket negotiator here, so he's going to shit all over Canada.
I love that he kept saying like the other day, he's like, yeah, we're talking with China about the tariffs. We got deals coming. And then China's like, we're not talking.
We're not talking. Well, I don't know if I believe China. I think
I don't know if I believe Trump.
I don't believe Trump either, but China and America are definitely talking on some level, 100%.
The shipments like coming into port have been just dropped off
Yeah,
dramatically. Basically,
they
there's
dropped
nothing
off by
coming in.
30%.
But like, it's like over 40 now.
40?
I follow a guy on Twitter who like tweets about it nonstop. So unless the deal happens like basically this weekend, you're gonna be seeing empty shelves in the States.
Yeah, but I don't know. So the thing is, you can't generally put pressure on an authoritarian regime. Oh my God, I can't speak.
Which one,
Because-
the States or China?
China. Because their people, unlike the Americans, are willing to suffer, or at least they'll be forced to suffer.
Yeah.
And they won't be able to say much about it. Whereas if Americans stop getting their shitty Chinese crap for a little
Like
bit,
cheap
there's
crap.
going to be riots
Yeah,
in the street.
this was always my
So-
understanding of the situation. It's like you can't the pain war, the making your own citizens feel pain war. China's always going to win that
China
one.
has already won
They've
it.
been winning it for decades.
Yeah. This will be the small step forward instead of the great leap forward. This pain coming to them. But no, there's a negotiation to be had here. I think it's to the point where it's like, yeah, you got to do something here. China was pretty much like whoever's in charge of the States was almost purposely just trying to drive them off the rails and into the dumpster.
Was it
They were-
purposefully, or is it just everyone wants to maximize their profit? And why would you pay for expensive labor when you can have
I
cheap
guess.
labor?
It reminds me of like why we have so much immigration here. It's like, well, what's the reason? Well, clearly, the only reason I can figure out is that they figured out, like the corporations basically said, hey, Trudeau, we need cheap labor.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that makes sense as to why you would cripple the entire country. Like it's greed. It's basically corporations.
Well, and also he gets
And
to pretend there's
politicians.
growth.
I guess. Yeah, that too. There's multiple things, but like in terms of the main reason as why it would happen, it would be like, because you can get growth through other means other than just crippling your entire economy, right? Like
You would need to like innovate.
innovate, yeah. But you innovate by reduce. So the way it works is if you reduce the number of cheap labor, you increase the pressure that it puts on companies to actually invest and grow through other means, right? If you have,
Yeah, but then you don't get to import voters.
I guess, there's multiple reasons as to why they just killed our entire country. Like it literally is fucked with all this immigration. There's multiple reasons for it, but I think the main one was just so that the corporations could have cheaper.
Well, they definitely weren't against it. It's like more consumers, cheap labor.
Well,
What's not to like?
more consumers, cheaper labor, and there's no downsides, right? Absolutely none. It's like, well, yeah, there's a lot of downsides, and everyone's feeling it now. It's
Yeah, but a corporation doesn't need a doctor.
no corporation doesn't. No, that's true.
Corporation doesn't need a house to live in.
No, and all the people running it don't have to worry about not having a job because their kids can't get like nobody can get a job anymore. It's ridiculous.
I saw a video today on Twitter that was, I mean, take it for a grain of salt because it was just a video somebody posted on Twitter. So A, it might not have been today. B, it might not have been what they were saying it was about. But it was just a long line of
Twitter's 100% accurate.
It was a long line of people outside of a Tim Hortons. And like, if it was what the poster was saying, they were all applying for a job there.
Well, maybe. But yeah, it's Carney. I'm hoping he's, as far as I can tell, like he's written that book that's basically like, green revolution for everybody.
I've got it over there. I read the preface.
And was it good?
I couldn't get through the preface. No, I did. I'm not too interested in reading it, but I thought I would just like read the first couple of pages, see what it was about, and it was very much what you would think.
Yeah, like I'm assuming it's all buzzwords about the green economy, blah blah blah. Blah.
Yes.
But I think this is where my cynicism goes, is that Mark Carney is a banker. He wants to make money above all else. If the winds are a-blowing this way, he will a-blow that way. And the winds were a-blowing to green slush funds and green this and green that. So that was where he could make his money and where he could make his buddies a lot of money. So I'm assuming that's where it went. And that's why everyone was all green this, green that. I'm curious. This is my conspiratorial hat, is who was behind all this green stuff? Was it a way for China to basically just cripple the West and get more dominance? Because they basically produce all the stuff that the green economy would need. And
yeah, it's a pretty sweet gambit.
It's in terms of like game theory, it's perfect because it's like it pushes all of our energy down while it gives them like basically the shortfalls.
Well, and at the same time, like nobody is investing in nuclear.
Yeah, well, nuclear is the big thing that it's like, well, China's investing in nuclear.
Yeah, but I was like,
they have some thorium reactors now, which is like, that's like the holy grail of cheap nuclear, is like you have a thorium reactor that can run on a thimble of water for the next 200 years. It's something crazy. It's some ridiculous amount of fuel we have for a thorium reactor. And they actually have one.
Yeah.
They have one working. It's like, America used to be the country that would do all this shit.
Yeah.
And it's like they've literally been tricked into not doing any of it through like lobbyists and this and that, and nuclear bad, even though how many fucking people have died from nuclear, like
compared to
100?
Yeah. Well, and I love just thinking about it in the simplest terms, because it puts it in like a funny perspective. It's like, think about, okay, humans discovered a magic rock that when we use it to make water hot, we can create electricity, and then we can keep all of ourselves warm, and we can have light for everybody, and we can power all of our devices, and we can do all of this with a magic rock. And then somebody came along and said, no, we shouldn't use that. And then everyone was like, okay, what? Why?
And it's so at odds, because it's like, carbon bad, carbon the worst thing ever. If you breathe out carbon, you're the worst thing ever. Nuclear has no carbon.
Yeah, we're not
ignore that. That's the blue bang bang boom.
Like, nuclear waste is bad. Yes,
bad.
Agreed. We can handle that.
Yeah.
Chernobyl. Yes, agreed. We're not Russia. We can handle not doing that.
Yeah, there's some ridiculous amount of like safety things that they just ignored.
Did you ever watch the HBO show
I never
Chernobyl?
saw it, no,
okay,
no.
It like breaks it down really well. It is ridiculous. Like all the things that had to go wrong for that to happen, and most of it was just this Russian culture of lying to everyone about everything all the time.
Which that seems to be what our culture is all about.
Apparently, we've devolved into that because we can't even like agree what a woman is. So here we are.
A woman is whatever they feel are.
They identify as. Identify as what?
Exactly. Yeah, it's funny how people are so angry about. They want to be able to identify as anything, but they also want to say that identity doesn't mean anything. It's like you're fighting over an identity, but you also think that identity is meaningless. Like men can be women and interchangeable, but then you're so like caught like.
Well, none of it makes sense when you think about it for more than 1 second.
No, I feel like that is starting to blow over, and like people are like, this is retarded. Like, I think we're ending that. I think we're still in that milieu of stupidness, but I think the rest of the world is being like, fuck that.
If nothing else, I think one good thing that might have come from Trump being elected is that it did cause a noticeable shift in the culture where people were like, you know what? It's okay to call out some of this dumb stuff now.
Yeah.
Because we've like put up with it for too long, and we've seen like what some of the results are of this. Yeah. And it's like, it's definitely too far. We don't need people dressed in drag reading to children in the library. It's like, why don't you go read to construction workers? Oh, because you don't want to, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why don't you go read to old folks in the seniors home? They would like that maybe.
Yeah.
No, they don't want to do that. So.
No, just indoctrinate the children with some weird, creepy ideology.
You know, like stuff like that. People are like, okay, I think we've had enough of this.
Yeah. But in terms of the green agenda, the slush funds and stuff, I think that was the idea with Carney. It was just like, this is where we can make a lot of money and basically just like, you know, we'll trick people into giving us a lot of money, and
it's
we'll siphon it off to our buddies.
It's interesting that he's so interested in prefab homes right now, right?
Yeah, and Trudeau, what did he came in with like a $10 million net worth, and he left office with like 150.
Well, that's all speculated, but like I buy that he's worth millions more now than he was.
Yeah.
Like, who's not buying that?
Exactly, and the same thing with Carney. And I'm hopeful that Carney realizes, we've kind of fucked ourselves here. Like, you don't really want to reside over a country and just like it turned to rubble, which is what's happening right now. Like, Canada is just imploding.
Well,
through.
So then the question is like, does Carney think that he will be better off by like preserving Canada and extracting our wealth for himself and his buddies, or like draining Canada and extracting?
I think the draining had already happened. It already happened, right?
Well,
you get much more.
Can't get blood from a stone, but
you
like,
get much more from Canada if you like. What is Canada? We are a petro state. We are like a minerals. We are the second largest country in the world. What we have is oil, minerals, and
lumber.
Like we have lots of stuff to give to the world. And right now, through the last 10 years, I've just been like, we are not that, guys. We are we're gonna leave all the stuff in the ground. Like,
have you been reading Tristan Hopper's tweets?
No, I don't know who any of these people are.
He put out a good one the other day that made me laugh. That was like basically exactly that. It was like, hey, what do you guys do well? Oil, lumber, minerals. Boring. Yeah. We're not going to be doing any of that. We're going to have a government subsidized electric vehicle mandate that no one's going to like. Ugh.
And where batteries don't work when it's cold. Well, it's okay because Canada doesn't get cold. We'll be all right. But it's like you can see that the last 10 years have just been a siphoning off of Canada and it's what its strengths are. And you're out. There's nothing, like, if our GDP and everything collapses and we have nothing left, like, people are going to leave. Stuff's going to go wrong. Obviously, the last 3 years have been just awful in terms of inflation, in terms of healthcare, in terms of education, all of the main things. Housing, holy fuck, housing. All those things are just broken at this point.
Yeah.
So the only way to continue to prop it up, like, you don't want to kill the patient. You're a parasite. You don't want to kill the host.
Kill the host, yeah.
You don't kill the host. You make sure the host can get a little better, and then you kill the host a little bit. You just siphon a little bit more and get a little more fucking shit. And I feel like Carney throughout his entire career is that he just says what people want him to say. He'll write a book about what you wanted to say. He doesn't believe in any of it. He's just like, this is where the winds are blowing. And this is my hope. I'm hoping he's going to unstick our oil. He's going to start using our resources more and selling it to the rest of the world and actually increasing our, per capita GDP through that.
Well, this is where we find out if he's a true believer or not.
He's not. Nobody is.
If he pushes for increased oil production and sales to pipelines, then
you know it's fraud. He's a fraud.
Yeah, and it's all just
which is great.
He'll say
great
what he needs to say. Yeah, obviously,
very good for Canada.
And what I'm writing my next video right now, and I have a lot of it to this. That's basically in the same vein that I don't care what he said or thought or what we thought of him pre-election. All I care about now is what he does.
He's saying the right things, to be honest.
I don't even really care about what he says right now.
True.
I just care about what he does, and so we'll see.
No, I'm hopeful. I'm hoping that he is so corrupt that he will actually help Canada.
Because it's in his best interest.
It is in his best
financially.
Interest. Exactly.
Yeah.
And all of his buddies financially, especially since he was friends with Trump like years and years ago. Like, they've done business together for years. It's like people didn't even think about that. Like, people that message on CBC never even got across.
Well, and
it's like
they made Brookfield do that friendly deal for Kushner or whatever for that tower in New York. That was like they paid like a 100-year lease up front.
Yeah, well, I mean,
because apparently I didn't look into the details, but apparently Kushner had gotten himself into like a bad spot with this real estate, and they bailed him out.
Yeah, and it was interesting when it was like, the tariffs are coming. What should you do? And Mark Carney's like,
move to New York.
And
then pretend
I'm Canadian, elbows up.
Pretend it was my idea.
Move to New York.
It was your idea. Oh, nobody cared.
Yeah, that's the thing. And then CBC was just like, forgot about it instantly. Yeah. And then obviously the boomers didn't think about it. It's like,
I'm Canadian nationalist now. Oh, where'd your company pay taxes? Bermuda. Nobody cared.
Yeah, nobody cared. It's like, you do all of the skeezy things that you could do to make money, right? You don't care about Canada. You just care about making money.
It's a lot like Trump in that way.
Exactly. And in this, well, I think Trump actually cares about America.
Sure,
don't think
but he
so?
also cares about lining his own pockets. He's selling a fucking
100%.
meme coin.
The Bitcoin? As soon as you had that meme coin, I was like, oh, he's just right out.
He's milking everything he can.
Oh, for sure.
And
But,
that's
like,
it's too easy. He's a skeezy businessman.
He's a skeezy business. He's a skeezy game show host businessman. Great. I'm hoping that we have a skeezy banker that's just in it for money. And if we get Canada to a better place just because of that, I'll be happy. I'll be happy.
If he's more competent than Trudeau for Canada
That's-
while being just as corrupt, I guess it's still a step up.
It's terrifying though because all the same people are still in power.
Well,
It's
that's
like,
what really burns me is like,
fuck me.
Everyone voted, is like, we're voting out Trudeau because everything's terrible and we hate Trudeau.
We hate all of his policies.
Like,
and
literally,
everything
he's
done.
the only thing that changed, and everyone's like, sweet, we're good now. It's like, look at the list of
Oh,
people he's
Jesus.
surrounding himself with. It's still the same clown
people.
show, fools and cronies.
But that's what I mean.
and-
I feel like there's been a call from on high, whoever, actually runs Canada, and they're like, time to pivot, and we're pivoting. So I'm hoping, everything will be better now. I'm hoping that, he won't, have us have 4 million people immigrate here. Like, what were we at? We were at was it like 1.5 or was it was like huge.
Well,
It was
I
massive.
hope he does consider the fact that despite the seat count is in his favor, the Conservatives got a higher percentage of the vote than Trudeau and Harper. Like, this is one of the best showings for the Conservatives in decades.
That's why me having voted already when I came to the polls confused me. Because it was that whole thing in 2020. Remember with the U.S. election where it was like more people than ever voted for Trump, but then more people forever voted for a walking corpse. It's like something doesn't add up there.
Well, you got out a lot of boomers who otherwise probably wouldn't have voted.
Maybe, but boomers vote every time anyways.
Not all of them.
No?
Just look at the overall, you never get 100%, even in any demographic.
But the young people were mostly liberal before. Mostly.
Yes, but young people still don't vote as much as old people. It's just a fact. And this is the debate. Like, lots of people online are saying, "Oh, Pierre Poilievre should have gone on Joe Rogan. He should have done Patrick Bet David, the Nelk Boys, whatever, all these different podcasts." See, I don't agree.
I agree. He should have done that, but it wouldn't have made much of a difference.
It might not have mattered, and this is the question: you're only going to get young people who wouldn't have voted otherwise. If you do a Joe Rogan, the only thing that's going to change is you might get young people who wouldn't have voted otherwise. There might be a very small number of boomers who weren't going to vote, and then they see that and they're going, "Oh, now I have to vote against them." But basically, you weren't going to get any of those boomers anyway. So going on Joe Rogan isn't going to lose you votes.
You wouldn't get the boomers. You get the young people though.
The only thing you can gain is, will this bring out more young people who
That's
wouldn't
what
have
I'm saying.
otherwise voted? And
that's what he should have done.
but it also, more than anything, because Canada and first past the post, it matters where those votes are.
Yeah, didn't they rejigger all of the things right before the election too?
Well, yeah,
the Liberals
that happened.
did.
They gerrymandered a couple things.
A lot of things.
But my other point is, it matters where those votes are, and then look at where you get a huge number of Liberals in Canada. It's Quebec. Joe Rogan is not. I just don't think it's going to be as big in Quebec as it is in English-speaking Canada. I just do not think that could ever be the case.
How do you know? Maybe they're the number one people.
They hate English shit.
Maybe they can just stomach it for
they
a
have
minute.
famous shows in Quebec that are famous in Quebec that no one outside has ever heard of, and that's what they watch. What is it, Tout le monde en parle or whatever, that show that Carney and Poilievre both went on because it was big in Quebec, and the clips came out to us and we're like, what the fuck is this show?
Yeah, no, I've never heard of that.
Right, but it's the biggest thing in Quebec. So
fucking Quebecers.
Anyway,
but yeah, no.
So I don't think it would have. I honestly don't think it would have made the difference. Lots of people think I'm wrong, but they're thinking of it.
But
as
why not do it?
They're thinking of it like the American election, but it
wasn't gonna hurt you, so why not do it?
I agree with that. You were never gonna get the CBC watchers anyway.
Yeah, so why not do it?
Yeah,
it's because you don't want to be more because Trump went on there.
Well,
you don't want to be like Trump.
That's exactly why there was
I know CBC would have run that. Oh, he's on that.
Of course, but
right wing.
But they were running all that shit anyway,
I know.
which is the argument for it. And I think it might have. At the point where we were a week out from the election and they were still down in the polls, they were coming back a bit, but it wasn't drastic enough. And it was clear they were going to lose. At that point, there's nothing to lose. You go on the podcasts and you might get youth who otherwise wouldn't have voted.
So I'm hopeful for Carney that his economic stuff will work. I'm fucking terrified of the dystopian shit they're going to start passing.
Oh yeah, the online censorship. This show's gonna be dead. They're the online censorship.
And will we
bill?
be put in jail for stuff we've already put up?
Maybe.
Like something like that's the stuff that terrifies me. Like I have full confidence that Carney is super corrupt. They've already, gotten out all the blood from the stone that they could get while killing Canada. Now they're going to have to revive it a bit so they can get a little bit more blood later. So I have a feeling that they're going to at least revive our minerals / oil / timber / like the shit we can actually provide to nations as opposed to our woke attitudes. Like, what are we exporting? Salt and tears more than like what the fuck? Like
Down here, salt is a way of life.
So I'm just terrified of the shit they're gonna pass.
Yeah,
like,
we export money for gender programs in developing nations. That's
like,
what we export.
Ridiculous. The worst part about all of this is that you now have Russia and China coming together and building pipelines towards each other and all this stuff. It's like, that's, if you really want to not be afraid of Russia and China, don't let them link up, because one is the manufacturing superpower and the other is the energy superpower. Maybe don't link those two, right? Like, that's stupid. You're just drawing them into each other's arms. It's like, okay. I know that's geopolitics and less Canada, but...
Yeah, so maybe starting a trade embargo / tariff war with China as states is a bad idea.
Yeah, it's dumb. It's like you can't fight a totalitarian state and hope that they're going to inflict more pain and have people going to uprise? And no, it's like, this is, and Trump's already backed off on a whole bunch of those tariffs because they're unrealistic. It's like he's bloviating, he's saying all the shit. It's just like, no, like you're not going to win now. You're not going to win that fight. It's like, yeah, you ain't going to win it. So.
Well, it's just absurd to be like, we want no trade surplus. Like, we don't want to have a trade deficit with any country. Insane. It's like, okay, let's look at one product, for example, coffee. The United States consumes more than any other country in the world. You produce less than 1% of what you consume. So you don't want a trade deficit for coffee? You
got to make in-house coffee.
And so, like, the countries that you're buying coffee from, they all have to buy Chevys now?
That's right.
Like,
yep. Preferably Chevys, yes.
It's just, like, his ideas are nonsense.
Well, the fact that it was like, as they were like, we're going to go tariff for tariff. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Because it's like, you both have pork. Your one country tariffs you 10%. The United States, like, because the United States is one of the lowest tariffing countries in the world. Like, they legit don't tariff all that much. And previously.
Now
and
they have
so,
like 150
so
tariff
there was
policies.
all, like, especially with Canada, like, you look at Canada, we do that with dairy and all this shit, right? Like, we tariff the fuck out of it so that we maintain our little...
Yeah, but I thought that's only if the quota isn't hit, and it's never hit.
It is, yeah. So there's all these little things that have been bought off by, people that have been lobbying and this and that. It's all like very annoying little things. But so the tariff going one way is like 10%, and then we're going to equal that tariff so that beef is 10% for each country. It's like, that makes sense. What he did was like, hey, you have a $300 billion surplus, therefore tariffs 80%.
Yeah.
It's like, what? What?
Because we buy stuff from you, and we want that stuff, and we buy it.
They literally, so America, think about this. They literally print little pieces of paper and get real goods for that.
Yes.
And complain...
Yes.
That they have to print that piece of paper to get the goods for that. That's what they're complaining about.
It makes no sense. I love everyone being like, oh, I'm running a trade deficit with my grocery store. This is an outrage.
No, but it's like things are a little more complicated than you look at the overall deficit and then you hammer it with a...
Well, yeah, this is my point about coffee. It's like, it's retarded. Yeah. There are certain things that your country wants that it doesn't produce.
So I'm hopeful. I know that I could very well be wrong, but I'm hopeful that he just did this because he's a bloviating crazy man. He did this to be like, hey, let's come to the table and let's talk it over. Now, it doesn't appear that way because it's been more than a few months now, and I
think he thinks he's the king of the world, and he wants everybody to just do what he wants, regardless of whether or not it makes logical sense.
No. And it's wild because it's like, if you went to war with China right now, China produces everything. You produce very little in comparison. What do you need to fight a war? Production. Who's going to win that? Like, everyone acts like they're just going to just mop the floor with China. It's like, no, like...
Well, and what happens when you can't get new laptops and smartphones? And because China isn't giving you rare earth or
have you noticed as a Canadian that shit is like electronics are getting much cheaper up here?
Because all of a sudden it's cheaper to ship it to Canada.
And the stuff up here is cheaper because there's more like it's sitting on a boat. We got to sell it somewhere.
Yeah.
So stuff's getting cheaper. So I was looking at getting like a tablet the other day. Normally was like $200. It's like $130. I'm like, oh, that's a tablet.
Yeah. Well, I bought this when the whole tariff talk started because I was like, oh, who knows what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But maybe I should have waited.
I bought my new computer, but I'm happy with that, so I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy with it. I needed one anyway. The old one that you're using
But
is making more noise than both of us combined.
Yeah, it sounds a bit like a little like a jet.
Yeah. That's supposed to sound like that.
So I'm hopeful that Canada and the U.S. become more integrated. We start building pipelines. It's like, we start actually producing again. Our GDP per capita goes up. All these things are great. But that dystopia bill...
All we need for our
bills,
GDP per capita to go up is like the immigrants who are here on temporary visas to leave when their visas expire.
Yeah, they're not. They're going to become citizens. Like when I listened to that Sam Cooper report that was like... It was like... All of these people come here on work visas or on student visas,
or the fake temporary worker ones where they pay their own wages for a fake job.
Yeah. Or that one. They come here. They actually go to some like paper mill or whatever it's called, like the diploma mill.
Yeah.
And there's not actually a school there. It's just fake.
Yeah.
They work because they're allowed to for some reason while they're here.
Well, and then so they recently changed the rules to stop them from
so.
being allowed to work full time.
Thank God. Well, even
like, because it used to be like 20 hours or whatever, and then a few years ago they changed it. They're like, no, you can work as much as you want. And then like a little while ago, someone was like, hey, so what's the data on like letting the students work as much as they want? Like, how has that changed the labor market? And they're like, oh, we didn't track that.
Yeah.
Like, are you fucking crazy? You just allowed 1 million immigrants who are here working 20 hours a week to start working 40, and you didn't think that would affect the labor market?
Yeah.
Who's running this? God,
Yeah,
clown show.
and yeah, you have that. And isn't it like if they've get a degree here, they basically become a citizen? There's some like thing about that.
Well, it's like an easier pathway.
It reduces
yeah.
their difficulty in becoming a citizen. It's like, okay, you look into that, but it's like, I don't know. It's I'm happy that there's immigration, but not at the level that we have now. This is insane. It's like we're going to implode. Well, I feel like if Paul Yare said we need to fund the CBC more,
yeah,
he would have won.
He did it the wrong way.
Yeah, he went against it.
Like, unfortunately, you have to trick people a little bit to stop people from being tricked, because it's easier to fool somebody than to convince someone they've been fooled. And so everyone currently buying everything the CBC says has been fooled, and it's easier to just fool them the other way than to convince them they've been fooled.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, you're absolutely right. If Polyev said we need to fund the CBC more,
Yeah.
but like in a different way,
in a less woke way,
right? Like you could turn it around to be more patriotic, more focused on Canadian heritage. That's positive. But yeah, unfortunately, he would have lost some of the conservative base who didn't get the idea, but he would have got way more people in the middle.
Yeah.
And the thing is, what the Liberals do well is they muddy the water. They make everything confusing for the average person who's not really paying attention.
They lie.
Basically,
They just
right?
lie.
So if you just like, hey, the reality is conservatives almost always lose elections in Canada, and if the Liberals make it harder by muddying the water, then it's like, learn to swim in the muddy water, man.
Well, I mean, once you add the number of immigrants that are voting now, like
lots of them are voting conservative though, because they
think
also
so?
don't like.
I hope so.
It's hilarious hearing
so.
immigrants talk about how much they hate the high immigration numbers.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, think about people that have been here for 20 years that came
They did it like the proper
Yeah.
way, and they hate all the cheating, like people who are coming here and not following the rules. Of course, why wouldn't they? They had to jump through all the hoops.
Yeah, like they must be just so pissed. Like and to see your standard of living just dropping the way it is. It's like if you don't own a house, what do you have in this country?
Especially if you immigrated here 20 years ago to give a better opportunity for your kids, and all of a sudden it's a worse opportunity. Like what? It's like, what did I do? Make all those sacrifices for?
Yeah. So, but I'm hopeful that Carney is a sleazy banker.
In the right way, he's a
way.
good sleazy banker.
Yeah, and he'll line his pockets, but in doing so, he'll actually increase.
Because almost everyone who's gonna get in the office is gonna line their pockets as long as they help the country.
I was watching this, like, what is it called? Rebel News, where he's like following Carney's money, and he's like in the, I don't know where he was, the Caribbean or something.
Yeah, Bermuda, something.
Something. He was like, this is the man who is in charge of the whatever the hell, and it's like an 85-year-old man who basically just writes his name on a thing so he can get a kickback from whoever he's essentially holding the money for,
right?
Or whatever. It's like some not tax thing, but some like haven.
So
whatever
like
the
a
fuck they call it.
multi-billion-dollar
Yeah.
corporation has
Yeah.
like one room with like a desk and a chair, and that's it.
And it's like, you know, these things happen. It's like, whatever. Like, there's going to be some corruption and stuff. But I'm just hoping he's just, you know, corrupt enough that he helps the Canada instead of Trudeau, who was so stupid. And I don't know what Trudeau was like. Like, if you read Carney's book, or at least from what I haven't actually read it, but from what I've been summarized about the book, he's basically a crazier version of Trudeau.
Yeah.
Like, he's a more leave all the oil in the ground. We're all going to die by like 2021.
Well, he was all on board with Greta Thunberg.
Yeah. How dare you? So if you take him,
who apparently doesn't care about the environment anymore
No,
because
no,
she cares
she's
more about Palestinians.
yeah, well,
whatever.
we gotta, whatever. But like, yeah, you'll go. I hope that the ocean is as blue as I remember.
The ocean is as blue as you remember.
Where's this cord from?
That's the power cable for the other laptop. Anyway, okay.
I hope. No, I just hope we don't go to jail for, you know, talking
Voicing
about
our
it.
opinions.
Yeah, voicing our opinions.
Yeah, well, you know, that whole the liberals said in the lead up to the election they were the party of the Charter of Rights, and
They said that?
they've convinced themselves of that despite everything that's happened over the past 5 years.
What?
Yeah,
They actually said that?
of course they do, but buddy, like they completely believe that they're all for freedom of speech and the Charter. You know,
But they have their bills that say the opposite. Like they just full out say hate. What was the one bill that was like future hate crime?
Well,
you could be thought of a future hate crime.
either they're very confused or they're all lying bastards.
Yeah, I think it's more of the latter.
Yeah, the pre-crime,
Pre-crime.
one was real scary.
Aren't they still trying to put that?
Of course, that's probably gonna pass. You know,
And that's my.
they're gonna put you under house arrest, no internet, no alcohol, on the chance that you might say something offensive in the future.
No, that's the shit that scares me, and I'm really hopeful that Alberta doesn't leave. I'm hoping that that's just a ploy, because my sister moved out there, and I don't want to have to move out there. That place sucks.
I mean, like I get the grievances, but
100%.
I just feel like it's probably the wrong move. I mean, maybe that's just me as someone who lives in Ontario.
But I mean, if you could be basically the Saudi Arabia of Canada, where you're just like, I own all the oil now, wouldn't you do it?
Yeah, but
Like if you were the people
but
there.
now you still have to deal with the rest of Canada. You can't physically move your province.
No, but
So it's
you just basically have a whole lot of money instead of giving it all to Quebec.
but you have the same problem where you can only sell it to the people around you.
Right, but the states.
Right, but the reason we sell it so cheaply to the States is because we can only sell it to
We
them.
can only sell it to them. It only goes to the states. It's funny that. How strange how Canada only sells our major oil to the states. It's like, who created this? Could it have been the states pressuring us to only sell it to the states?
We could have built our own refineries and
Could've.
gotten oil to water ourselves, but
Pretty sure we had all the stuff. Wasn't it the Exxon Keystone pipeline? I think that was still going to the states though. So it was just like murdered by Biden and Trudeau. Didn't Trudeau spend like $8 billion on a pipeline and then just stopped it?
Yeah, something like that. The government bought the pipeline,
And then just didn't do anything with it?
there's a whole history of pipeline stuff that I'm not well versed in.
I know, we got to figure that, like, that's the problem. One of the big problems that Canada has is they make it so confusing and you can't follow anything, that it's just like you get a little brief sense of it, but you don't know anything. Or really, you're just as confused as everyone else. Like,
Well, we pay our politicians to deal with this shit,
Yeah.
and then they never do a good job, and then we're constantly like trying to dig into what the fuck they're actually doing, while also doing our own jobs because we have full-time jobs.
I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping. I'm hoping. Do you think we'll be okay? You didn't really say much about Carney. What do you think of Carney?
Well, I think I said my main point, which is that I just care about his actions, and so we'll see. Like, he hasn't had a ton of time to do much yet, but
I mean, he's been prime minister for what, 2 months now?
yeah, but Parliament hasn't even been in session.
Will it ever go in session?
All he's been doing is like going directly to the governor general and spending our money without Parliament, which is bullshit.
Can they come back yet, or do they still have to give that stuff first before they're allowed to come back? Because they were proroguing government because they weren't giving legal stuff they were ordered to give, right? Some shit like that.
Oh yeah, the slush fund documents.
Yeah. Are they going to have to give that out, or are they still just going to have no parliament forever?
Parliament was dissolved when the writ was dropped. Like the election dissolves everything, so everything needs to be started from scratch.
So it's just a blank slate.
Yep.
This is what happened the last time.
Yep. When they wouldn't give the documents for the lab, the Winnipeg lab, and the speaker, they sued the Speaker of the House, and they're like, the Speaker was like, "Yep, you have to give the documents," and then the Liberal Party was like, "Nope, we're gonna call an election,"
And so that just dissolved
and
everything.
it dissolved it.
So when they come back, can they redo that?
Yep, but it starts from the beginning.
So as long as the...
But I think we did. I can't remember, but I think in the last session of Parliament we did eventually like get something about those, because I think they did reintroduce it. I can't remember everything, but
See, that's it. We do, even us who are doing a podcast about it don't know anything.
But like I'm pretty sure that the Winnipeg lab was involved with the creation of the coronavirus, and that's what they did not want everyone to find out.
Yeah. Why?
Because it's sheer ineptitude and incompetence on the part of Canada. We allowed Chinese spies to work in one of our most top security clearance labs and send samples back to the Wuhan lab.
Chinese spies run our government. Who do you think was running Trudeau?
Yeah, but everyone likes to pretend it's not the case.
Okay. Because they finally had evidence that proved it. They're just like, election.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. As far as I can tell. Like,
Because think about it, it wasn't a good time strategically to call an election. Like Trudeau thought he might be able to capitalize on the pandemic response and get a majority, but he was obviously wrong. He ended up with 2 fewer seats. Basically, nothing changed. Like we had just had one. It wasn't a good time, really.
I hate politics.
Yeah.
I fucking hate politics. Like, how is that even a thing? I wish there was just some kind of like Dr. Manhattan that oversaw everything, or like a Superman. You could just be like, do your shit right, or I'll murder you all.
This is how dictators come into being.
Yeah. You know?
Just this is the scene from episode 2 of the prequels, the Star Wars prequels, where he's like, Anakin's talking to Padme or whatever, and he's like, if only there was just like one person who could control everything, but you know he would be really good at it.
Benevolent, though.
Benevolent dictator,
like a kind dictator.
Just don't get on his bad side.
Yeah, don't do that. Well, that's what we're doing right now with Carney. We're on the dictator's bad side. He's going to pass all this legislation. And he's not even in a majority yet. And he's still going to do all that. It's like, fuck.
Well, on that jolly note, let's
So done with it. Go Leafs, go.
take a little break from politics, watch some hockey. And,
sorry, man. Like, I'm so disappointed.
Yeah, me too. But life goes on. We got to
We'll see.
keep on
We'll
keeping
see.
on.
We'll see what Carney does. I'm hopeful.
I think the Conservatives, like, they made strides in this election in the sense that, like, they ran a good campaign. Like, despite not going on Joe Rogan or anything, they ran a good campaign. They got a good vote turnout. It just was a really freak election in the circumstances that led to Carney winning. So what are you gonna do? Gotta move on.
I guess. If we're not all in jail.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll see you again for another episode. Thanks for watching.
This is the last
ya.
episode.